I remember Zach, he sat us down and he said, I have an idea. I think it's gonna be the best project that we've ever done, and it's about 3 people who try to avoid an ant for a night.
And action. Look, being okay.
So Zach has always been trying to pitch us on doing something horror, and we've always wanted to, but we hadn't found like the right project yet. So this is a Zach Bakken brainchild through and through.
I have wanted to do a horror film for my entire life.
I always wanted to adapt a thought experiment that had gotten pretty popular in our generation, which is the snail problem.
I know you guys have explained this 1 million billion times.
Yep.
Would you like to explain it one more time?
The idea is you get some lump sum of cash, call it $1 million, but the caveat to getting that prize is you have a snail follow you somewhere around the world, and if it ever touches you, you die.
So the question is, do you take that reward money? Well, I don't know. You'd always be looking behind your back and you'd be super anxious. And so that anxiety and that fear I just thought would lend itself really well to the horror genre. And so I wanted to adapt a version of that.
You know, that ant is their version of the snail. Pay someone enough money, they'll stay here as long as they have to.
So I took that thought experiment and combined it with a love of the horror genre, as well as just my background with my psychology degree, and it basically just perfectly married into this story. I outlined it in one night and then just pitched it to Kim and Ethan about a day later, and I told them it was a little wild, but I really think it can work.
And I remember Ethan and I's first instinct was that it was a joke, and it wasn't. And then our second instinct was ant as in the family member or ant as in the little bug.
I never let nobody with no motion try to hold me. I'm an OG, and that's the old me. The way I'm sitting nowadays, I'm money stacked 9 ways. I'm sipping on a latte. Why they all call me bougie, bougie, bougie? Hey, hit another level.
Yeah, it's a second.
Well, we're talking about not the ant relative, but the insect.
The insect, although some would say they're equally horrifying.
And then he pitched us the idea, and I remember honestly being floored and being like, yeah, that probably is gonna be the best thing that we've ever done if we can pull it off. For the next few months, we sat down and we figured out how to pull it off.
We are 9 days out from production. We have a full cast, most of our crew. Script, now we're just getting into logistical things. Today, we also gutted out the Bakken house, took out all the furniture so we can dress it as good as we want after we repaint it.
So I wrote it explicitly with my childhood home in mind. Part of the reason for that was I just knew the geography of that space really well. So any of the setups, the payoffs, the shots, I could really imagine it as I was writing, and it would also just give us full freedom in that space to do whatever we wanted.
Since this was Zach's parents' house and they were kind enough to let us have complete free reign over the house, we were able to turn it into exactly the set that we wanted. The set that we wanted was this house that felt nice enough on the inside and like it had potentially been lived in the past, but it had been stripped of all its character and identity and now felt very liminal and just creepy, and it just didn't feel right.
We got the luxury of being able to paint the house in order to lean into the color control that we wanted to have. So originally the living room was much more of like a burnt orange, which obviously just wasn't gonna fit the vibe that we wanted. So we wanted to do something that was a little bit more desaturated in order to give that kind of liminal space.
New technique.
I remember Cam and I were talking about this and we were like, are we sure they're gonna let us do this? Like, this is a big thing to ask, just let us paint their house. So we brought it up to Sherry, and sure enough, she's like, I hate that color, please get rid of it.
They ain't really see what this about. Say my life a movie, no, I told them get out. Throwing Jordan pills, now they tripping on the ground. It's at 1, 2, 3, now they out for the count. I'll shut it down, I'll shut it down, yeah. I'll shut it down, I'll shut it down, yeah. I'll shut it down, I'll shut it down, yeah. I'll shut it down, I'll shut it down, look.
Being best friends, there's no ego. I think there's a lot of trust there. You know, we don't take anything personally, and I think that brings out the best in us. I've been wanting to act in our stuff since we were kids, and they always make me work for it.
I think about 2 weeks before we started shooting, Cam and Zach basically had a little sit-down talk with me, and they were like, hey, we have an idea. We thought about it, we talked about it.
For Ethan's character, we needed him a little bit more blue-collared. So one thing that we made him do that he was a little bit reluctant to was actually shave his head.
You're gonna have to shave your head, sorry. My heart sunk a little bit.
Took me a little bit by surprise at first. I took a few days to contemplate and mourn.
They're about to shave my head. It's not consensual. Somebody please save me. Come break me out. I'm desperate.
but eventually agreed, and it was one of those things that's just like the right call in hindsight.
His character was just different and a bit more rugged than the other characters that he played. We felt bad doing it, but at the same time, we didn't because it was for the betterment of the story, and I think that it helped a million times over.
It's one of the haircuts of all time.
We knew that we were going to cast Ethan and Jeff, and we were very deliberate about casting our other main roles. We used Jeff actually as a sort of acting casting director, and he sent out a casting call.
But to be clear, I didn't cast myself. They asked me to read there for the part, and then I was like, hey, you know, I have a lot of experience in the acting world, and I've been on the other side so often, and I'm like, I think I can really kind of fill in this gap that we have in finding the right people for the project. It was a little bit strange though, I would say, especially when we were casting Madison, really focusing on like the scream at the beginning and the end. And I'm so excited to do the casting, so I'm watching all these videos coming in, and it's like 2 a.m. and I'm just watching people scream on my computer all alone in my room. I'm like, I probably look insane from the outside, but I really just try to take some of the experiences that I've had as an actor and give the actors the tools to be successful. We had a great supporting cast.
Shooting this movie was definitely a different beast.
So while shooting at night can sometimes be the easiest thing, it's not oftentimes the most practical. So what we decided to do was, shoot day for night. We ended up putting a bunch of trash bags all over the house and essentially turned the house to midnight when it was noon.
We were scheduled to shoot for 4 days, and our final shooting script was 28 pages. That is a lot of things to shoot per day.
So we used real ants on ours.
Wait, right there. Roll.
Cool. Do we get to go, or like?
I think we can untie that.
Cool. Should I go?
Yeah, why not?